Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own, not to control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live to the previous episodes as well as this one. You're always going to hear the same greeting because, we've been growing the channel for a while and always appreciate everybody that has tuned in throughout the years. And so, very, very thankful for that. Appreciative to that. And today, we thank you for that. So, this is episode Your Name Revocable Trust, episode 721, and we're here to talk about it today. Your Name Revocable Trust. Oh, Trust Christian, you that much smarter than all the rest of us? You know something we don't know? You telling me that my legal name that I utilize in commerce is a trust? Oh, we gotta trust these people reach out to the vault all the time. Oh yeah, Trust Christian, I got a revocable trust. I have a trust. Oh, we're aware. So what happened? This channel provides some education as well as some implementation. So you don't just get information. So many people, oh man, the information is the power. Yeah, and the execution of the information is the power. So let's talk about it. Yeah? Let's talk about it. Okay. So, if your name is a revocable trust, are you the grantor? Are you the trustee? Or are you the beneficiary? And this is the difference between public and private. If you're private, how are you going to be all the positions? If you're private, why would you own the trust? These are easy questions to ask somebody to sit here and say, oh yeah, I have a trust, Christian. We know you do, because you own it, because it's revocable. You're not fooling Trust Christian in the vault. Think about it, you go to the lawyers, right? Oh yeah, I need a trust, lawyer. Do you know the difference between revocable and irrevocable? When they put y'all in living trust, that's a public entity. Oh man, all lawyers aren't created equal. No. So, how do we get around that? How do we get around this Trust Christian in the vault? You telling us that, oh man, there's the government trust. There's a revocable trust. I got my name trust. It's the legal name. You see the legal name. We're going to talk to the trustees and people that are hardcore audience listeners. So if you're new, you're just going to have to take this one, listen to previous episodes on the channel so you can get up to speed on what we're talking about right now. So for all the rest of y'all that's out here, oh yeah, Trust Christian, I know the government's this, and I know the government's de facto. I know that. Okay, so I know that there's a Social Security Administration trust. I know that I have that there's a trust account in my name, and they use the birth certificate as collateral and deposit it inside of there. Remember those processes? Oh yeah, the birth certificate is worth some money. Okay, the birth certificate worth some money. So it's a certificate or evidence of trust. So is it the legal title or is it the equitable title? Who holds the equitable title? You do. You're the beneficiary. That's why you hold the beneficiary certificate. You're the beneficiary, correct? So we already know you're beneficiary. So are you also the trustee? No, the government's trustee. They the ones telling you that you got to report against the entity. You got to report against the entity. We'll repeat it again. You got to report against the entity. Don't they? Aren't they the trustee? They're managing your estate. Because when you pass, if you die intestate, which means you don't quote unquote didn't have a will, you didn't have a plan in place as the beneficiary. Think about that. But they got a program for you indirectly that says whatever you report against us, we're actually keeping track of it. They have the records. Did they report it proactively? Who's acting in your stead as a fiduciary? Oh man, I gotta send the forms in for the fiduciary. How you gonna send in the forms for the fiduciary and you not acting as the fiduciary? You acting as the beneficiary. Because guess what? Y'all don't want to hear it. And this is the reality. A lot of the ones that talk that talk, they still sit here and say, they come to me, Trust Christian, I know there's no money, but somehow I'm reporting it as non-compensation. So then what you reporting is non-compensation. And these conversations come to us all the time, ladies and gentlemen. So we're talking about the consultations that we get coming to the vault, the people that have been gone through trustee training, and these are the things that they say. And we talk to them, hey, are you gonna be a trustee or you gonna be a beneficiary trying to claim the birth certificate and the QSIP numbers and all this other stuff? Or did you act as a trustee and you now have a contract as a trustee on the property as a trustee and you're acting as what? The trustee. Oh man, Trust Christian, I hear it. You can't have employee mentality, ladies and gentlemen. It's not how it works. Like, it's just straight up trustee stuff. You definitely want to act as a trustee. A lot of people are losing because they don't have a board. How you gonna have a trustee and you don't have? How you gonna be a trustee and you not sit on the board? The one thing Trust Christian is proud of is we always surround ourselves with people that are smart, people that are successful, people that are the people that understand trusteeship. Trusteeship is a real thing, and when you understand trusteeship, you just on it. You on it as a trustee, no questions asked. Like, it's the bottom line. You're gonna build the board. You're not gonna quibble and quabble. Oh, Trust Christian, I don't know anybody. How am I gonna know somebody? How am I gonna be a trust? How am I gonna act as a trustee? I've been an employee and trained as an employee my whole life. How am I gonna do that? Here we go. Immersion. A lot of trustees are coming to the vault. Oh man, Trust Christian, I got this information, but I can't talk to nobody about it. That's why I reached out to you. I ain't got nobody to talk to about this information. I stayed locked up for however long in the house, just studying the words, studying these cases that you told us to read, Trust Christian Revolt. I'm studying, I'm absorbing, I'm in deep. Oh yeah? You're in deep. You're studying. Did you get outside and have conversations with financial institutions? Trustees still thinking about personal stuff. Oh man, my personal credit, Trust Christian. My personal credit, Trust Christian. What are you talking about, your personal credit? If you want to know how you know you're not a trustee, because first of all, you're thinking personally. But how you gonna be a successful trustee and you don't have a team? You're not financially bankable. Here we go. That's what we're gonna say. Not about the team. We already talked about the team. You're not financially bankable. Oh man, Trust Christian, I don't have the personal credit score. I don't have the personal whatever. Because you're not financially bankable. And until you admit that to yourself, so you can say, you know what? I got to surround myself with people that are, so they can lend me financial credibility so I can go out and build the family estate at exponential rate. How you going to do that doing it by yourself? Oh man, I don't have the personal guarantees. Yeah, because you thinking personal. You thinking public. You not thinking private. That's why most of the people that reach out or they listen, they don't really want to be private. They just talk about it. Oh man, I want to be in the trust stuff. Yeah, you just don't want to be. You want to live in trust. You want a revocable trust. You might as well keep using your social or using the social. Y'all think private people out here trying to proactively use use the social security number? No. But at the end of the day, okay, if you're gonna be private, you would use minimal of that. You don't want to know how it looks when you haven't done anything for over 7 years. You're like, dang, I don't even show up anywhere, right? How's that bad? That's a clean slate for you to go out and be great. But instead, people say, oh man, I don't know. I'm going to use the same thinking. I got to get this. I got to get that. You hear what they talking about personal stuff again. Instead of saying the trust or the company, we need to do this as a company. We. So many. I want to be a trustee, Trust Christian, but I want to be in the private. They be talking about it. They around public people. You're around 95% of the public people. How are you going to transition? The 5%ers that we talking about, the 5% of the population that is in trusteeship, truly in trusteeship. Y'all hear the stories. Y'all can Google the publications that publish what families are going through estate issues, that have estates if someone passes. You hear about some celebrity or someone passing, and next thing you know, their estate is in the public. Their estate is being talked about in the public. Then you got some people that just say, "Oh yeah, X, Y, and Z passed away. And that individual, it's in private entities. That's all we know. We kind of done enough scraping and scrapping to see where they are. From where we see, there's not much to look at. We're aware that this company held their, because it's a public company they may be associated with, that hold their shares, like Bill Gates, like Donald Trump. They hold the shares for these guys anyways. So, okay, if they pass the Elon Musk, oh yeah, you think Elon's gonna have the money go directly to his kids when he's the richest guy? They're gonna blow their brains away. It's not even a bad thing to say something like that. Peace be unto them. But at the end of the day, you give somebody $100 million or $200 million, and this guy's supposed to be a multi-billionaire, trillionaire type status. What do you think you're gonna do? As if you just been given that type of capital, you're gonna do what Melinda Gates did. She gave it away. When she got her divorce, she gave money away. What are you going to do with all of that money? What are you going to do with 300 million, 400 million, and you already have the houses and the cars? What are you going to do? Give it away. Invest it in schools. Invest it in medical stuff. Technology. We were in a very powerful room this past week, past 7 days actually, and someone asked the question to the room. They said, "What do you think is the greatest invention of mankind so far?" And we're talking about modern man, obviously, ladies and gentlemen. Like, we see pyramids, you see the stories and the glyphs. We're talking about modern man, and one of the things that we kind of, it was an impromptu question, and we responded back. So we are digressing here. Please walk with us here, though. We want you guys to type into the chat, what do you think? Because this is the question that was asked us. What do you think is the greatest invention so far invented? And when we talk about it, we were very intricate in our answer, but we had to be very precise and very quick with it on the feet. So it was a beautiful thing. And they said, "What is the greatest invention so far to man?" And we thought about it and we said, "Hey, modern technology." And a lot of people don't want to hear that because we're not talking about pharmaceutical drugs. We're not talking about modern medicine. We're talking about modern technology where they can go in and give someone a different body part from an animal actually, and they actually live longer. People can get replacement body parts. When you think about even modern technology, people in hyperbaric chambers, you think about saunas. These are artificial the things for nature, but at the end of the day, that technology has. It's like, oh, we want to go to space and we don't want to die. Well, you have to build the technology to actually do that. And that's going on. So even with medical technology, there are people that are given animal body parts or other human body parts and they live longer. So we're not talking about modern medicine, we're talking about modern technology. And that was our answer. That was Trust Christian's answer on the fly to that question directly. And I just wanted to see if any of you all had to answer that. What do you guys think is the uh, best invention so far in the modern world, quote unquote? And even the airplane could be considered that, because if you didn't have an airplane, supposedly you had to get on a boat. But that's it. Everybody doesn't get on an airplane. A lot of people would benefit from medical technology. Obviously, they ask for the greatest invention. So you have to, think on your feet and push, push, push to get a thought that, actually is good and cool and makes sense to you at least. It doesn't have to make sense to everybody. Some people may say, what is that? Floss. Some people that just love floss, they love, just making sure that it's clean. Like certain things are just considered a great invention, and floss is obviously a great invention for sure. A lot of people, whoever doesn't know, but the ones that know, they know. So we'll keep it moving. Get back into the episode here, which is revocable. Your name, revocable trust. Oh man, Trust Christian. The government, I know that the government they got a trust for me. It's the Sesta K trust. I know the government, they got me wrapped up as a trust. No, they don't have you wrapped up as a trust. You got the grantors, mom and dad. You got the trustee. They went to the state. Is that not true? Who's the beneficiary? You. You're a ward of the state, correct? Or were a ward of the state, correct? Are your children a ward of the state, correct? Oh man, don't tell the public that Trust Christian Vault. First of all, it's public information whether the United States is in a bankruptcy or not. First of all, how can you operate in debt if how can you operate in debt if you're not in a bankruptcy? That's how it works. Do you know what chapter they're in? Because there's 3 chapters. 7, 11, and 13. Do you know what chapter they're operating in? You as a citizen? That's why you can be purported as, oh, we owe money to the government. The government, they say we owe the government. How you gonna owe the government? The government's out here issuing bonds. How you owe the government? Do you understand how that sounds? You as a citizen owe the government. You don't work for the government. The military people do. The politicians, let it be told, they all know they're supposed to be working for free. But they put later on de facto bills, de facto bonds in place, and in turn, do they get salaries and de facto notes of value and fiat notes just like you do? Do you get paid in gold? Do you get paid in silver? Do you get paid in bartering? These are the things people say, oh man, I kind of know it's something like that. I'll be thinking about it, but I don't, you really not executing, really not out here doing it. And when it comes down to it, that revocable trust stuff, it just comes down to people thinking like an employee. And it's just bottom line. Some people may say, oh, trust Christian, is that really what it is? You really don't want to know. You got to brush up on your business skills. Y'all don't want to know. There are a lot of successful business people that listen to business publications, and that means it's a book. And so some people say, oh man, Trust Christian, I ain't got time to read no book. Well, even publications, it involves reading. So we're not saying that you have to read a full book of, oh, this billionaire and you got to read this self-development book. We're not saying none of that. And a lot of successful people have read people skills books. And it's not to say that you just can be a super people skill person. Of course you can be a super great people skill person, but not everybody is. So once again, you see the 5% that say, you know what, we gotta study people skills so we can know how to get the 95% to work for us. We work on our sales skills, and that's what you do. But why is it so challenging? Because 95% of the population hasn't been taught to think for themselves. They rather just show up, punch in, and leave. They don't want to think, as people call it. What's thinking? Getting up every day, thinking light on your feet. The conversation that we having right now, they hear the information and they go take it and they run with it. Oh, for sure. It's wrong that you want to say, oh yeah, well, Trust Christian, I know I'm not a slave to the system. I know I'm mentally free. I'm not a slave. Well, if you know you're not a slave, are you acting like a trustee? Are you acting like a master? Or are you acting like a slave? Are you acting like a master? Are you doing master actions? Do you have the master file? You don't have the master file because you're afraid to be a massa. That's what it is. And it's a lot that are. So when you want to talk to Trust Christian and Vault, you better be prepared. You're talking to masters over here. We understand that we're not run by this. What are you talking about? These people work for you. They're supposed to be in your general zip code, in your locale, and they have purported that they are going to go to the larger group and they're going to make sure that there are things that are lobbied on your behalf for your particular jurisdiction. They're going to be a representative for your jurisdiction, your local jurisdiction. That's where we are? Yeah. That's where modern society is, especially in a free society. People don't even want to know that. That doesn't happen everywhere in the world. They don't have these representatives. Some people, it's a straight up dictatorship. It's one man saying it all, one person saying it all. And then think about that. Who's the person? Is the person a legal person? Is it a legal fiction standing with the legal fiction of the government? Or is it you as an autonomous being saying, what's going on here? People don't want to hear this though. Why? because it's easier to put their head in the sand. And if you're one of the ones that say, all right, I know who I am, I know I'm a living flesh and blood being. We've got people, y'all go back and listen to previous episodes, and somebody will type into the chat, well, can I contract directly with the government? How you going to do that? The government is a dead entity. It's an entity. It's a legal person. The trustees are the people that are the representatives. Who are you in relationship to that? Well, I'm a citizen. Okay, here we go. They ask you, do you have a birth certificate? Yeah. Then you're the beneficiary. You hear that? All of that language said you had, and all of that language said you're the beneficiary. Well, we're here again, having these conversations with trustees that they say, oh, Trust Christian, I need a remedy. I need this. First of all, if you're a trustee, you're going to just act in the capacity of a trustee at all times from that point forward. You're not going to turn into a beneficiary. You're not going to act like a beneficiary. You understand who the trustee is. You understand who's the trustee of the estate, and you correspond as such. You got to act in the capacity of trustee. You got to be willing to correspond and say, I need these records. I need you to supply this. The plaintiff bears the burden of proof. Correct? The plaintiff bears the burden of proof, correct? If they suing you, you're the defendant. But so many people, the revocable, your name revocable trust, why would they want to change that? Then they gotta be the trustee. They over here talking about how I'm gonna get compensated as the trustee. How I'm gonna get compensated as a trustee. These are the things you hear. How do you get compensated? Don't have no assets, but they talking about getting compensated. Or they sometimes do have assets. We have trustees that have assets and they still ask that question. How do we get compensated as a trustee? Can the trust live in the house? It's a document, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't hard. Y'all think lawyers don't know that? The trust cannot live. It's a document. How does it caretake for the property? The document caretakes for property. If the family estate owns a vehicle, how's it going to be maintained? The trust document is going to pick it up and carry it somewhere? The document itself. No, you are the trustee. So are you acting as a trustee? Or are you talking, oh man, Trust Christian, I'm trying to go on vacation. And we are sitting here thinking in our head right now how exciting it is to be in trusteeship. Because all you have to think about is it being a site visit. We were sitting here thinking about that. We've been thinking about that. We've been programming ourselves for this. We've been programming ourselves. You got to program yourself for wealth. Ain't no vacations. It's a site visit. It's a family retreat. It's a business trip. Oh man, George Christian, it's a site visit? Is it that simple on the private side? Or I gotta go on the public side and I still didn't do my homework on what's an expense and what's a fringe benefit. Exactly. So you gotta study, you gotta hit the books. You gotta hit the books on what is an expense on the public side and the revocable trust side, because that's what y'all looking at. What's the expense opportunities? What's the fringe benefits opportunities? These are the things that we gotta do. But oh no, Josh Christian, I don't want to do that. We know you don't. But for the ones of y'all that are gonna step up and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm into that. I'm into being a master. I gotta find out how to get the master file. Master file. So you telling us the current trustees don't have record, but they're telling the beneficiary to report against the trust itself, your name trust? You're the beneficiary reporting not as a beneficiary, you're reporting as an owner. You ain't know that? You're reporting as, I owe the government something. I owe the trustee something. Y'all don't even want to know. That's how wild it looks. The government dang there. They take money from you in a salary. They get into a position of celebrity. Now, granted, there are some lifelong politicians, and then there's some that come from business and other realms of their life, and they go into politics. Nevertheless, they're not volunteers as you would think they would be, so they can keep their heart pure and not be corrupted mentally. But somehow, there's bills been passed that they actually get a compensation. Not only do they get a compensation, here we go. No shade on the government of the United States, but somehow they'll tell you they'll misappropriate funds. How do you misappropriate funds? Y'all supposed to have the highest level of due diligence, but they don't. And you all are aware that the private sector has the due diligence firms. They're private companies. They do due diligence. We were sitting here looking at something the other day, literally said that there was an agency in the government that gave over $100 million to an organization and they lost it. Now, y'all can sit here and keep playing small every day with your life. Oh man, Trust Christian, I'm gonna get up and go make 30 bands. I'm gonna go get up and make 60 bands. I'm gonna go get up and make 100 bands. And I'm gonna get up to 150. They're gonna take 40%. So I made 150, now I'm down to like 90. I still got taxes taken away from everything else that I pay for. So really, it's just a tax machine out here. They a tax machine. Oh, baby. Like, what are we doing here? You just let the government think they could just, these people better than you or something? But you want to know what it is? It's the mindset. It's the minority versus the majority. Y'all can go back and listen to that episode. It's the minority versus the majority mindset. These people will tell you, y'all live in a democracy. And you'll fall for it. You'll fall for it. We ain't got no problems telling you that. So you want to believe when you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know it's a republic. That's what distinguishes it from... we seen something the other day. Some goofball on the internet. He's like, oh man, we're in a fascist government. How you in a fascist government and the government got a trust set up for you? Goofball. The government has a trust set up for you. It's called the Social Security Administration Trust, correct? Y'all know about this. You're banking on Social Security. You hope Social Security is going to be around, but you want to sit here and say, oh yeah, Trust Christian, I don't believe the government is a trust. I don't believe that I'm the beneficiary. I don't believe this. Yeah, that's why you don't know it either, because you're not going to do the research. But you want to sit here and say, oh yeah, Trust Christian, I think the system's rigged. The government's a fascist government. What are you talking about? You should be happy you live in one of the areas that have one of the stronger militaries. But oh no, I don't want to think global. I want to think selfishly. And that's why you're going to perish. Because you got people out here standing on the front line to defend your family and your life, and you don't even consider it. Because your mindset is weak. They will perish for the lack of knowledge. They don't know. In the word knowledge, it has know. You got to know it. Oh, I know that the money's not real, Trust Christian, but are you doing what the trustee's supposed to be doing? Are you doing trustee actions every day? Or are you waking up being a beneficiary, hoping that the system don't fall when you supposed to hold it up? How many Americans are sitting instead of standing and being an American? For what it's worth, we're not sitting here getting biased towards it. We're talking about you stepping up and creating economic value as a trustee, not as a beneficiary. Some going to do it as a beneficiary. That's the bottom line. It's okay. But let's not play that game. Oh man, Trust Christian, I'm going to be the beneficiary because I didn't fully learn the system yet. I don't really know how the system works. That's all it is. So how you going to do it then? Oh man, I got to study, Trust Christian. Think about it. If you got to use Federal Reserve notes, that's what you got to use. You're utilizing Federal Reserve notes. So what is the problem with utilizing that to invest in a financial education? What's wrong with going into $1 million worth of debt for the business, knowing you could bankrupt it because the government's bankrupt with the Federal Reserve notes, but oh no, they still talking about some daggone personal credit. And they're being fooled by, oh, it's personal. So they're never business then. Because those ain't the same thing. Y'all know that the liabilities are different for business and personal. But somehow, it's a conversation. Or it's a moot point. And it's okay. But for the ones that say, oh, I know about this stuff, Trust Christian, and I gotta lean into it. Here we go. The secret sauce. Somebody said that the other day to us, actually. They said, Trust Christian, you gotta already see how this looks. You go have to work your butt off, get in the rooms, and then you get the information. We could say that to a degree, but that's not true. You gotta have those thoughts of being wealthy, being private, before you get in the rooms. That's just being honest with you. Oh man, Trust Christian, I'm gonna get in the I'm gonna get in the room and I'm gonna find something. Now I wasn't. That's what you think you're gonna find, and you're not gonna find anything other than other people that just think like you. The reason why you're in that environment is because you wanted to meet people that have close or similar thought or can work with or you could deal with. Right? That's it. They think like you. Oh, so that's where you come to find out that the politicians aren't bad people. Why? Because clearly the politicians will tell you something to tell people to their face, and sometimes people don't even question it. They don't even say anything. When a politician says it's a democracy, people say, "Oh yeah, it's a democracy." There's nothing in it doesn't say that in the Constitution. So where did that word come up? You don't want to know? That's the de facto, putting de facto regime codes on you. So when people say, "Oh, it's a fascist government," that's the de facto is. The de facto is. But the natural government will be the people. How many people get these things? How many people care? I'm just gonna roll with the living revocable trust Christian. You know what I mean? I'm gonna roll with the trust because at the end of the day I'm gonna roll with the public side because I wanna play it safe. I'm gonna play it safe, I'm gonna play it cool, I'm not gonna be tempted by nothing, I'm not gonna do none of that wild stuff. I'm not doing none of that crazy stuff. You know what I mean? That's the crazy stuff. I'm not trying to fight the government. That's the point. You're not supposed to be fighting the government. You're supposed to be working with it. What's wrong with working with the government? It's not supposed to be a thumb rule. It's a republic. It's a voting system. So there is no one rule. The rules can be changed. The people can be moved out of power. The ones you think are ruling, they can be taken out of power from various different checks and balances. But oh no, I don't want to think at that level, Trust Christian. The system's rigged. Everything's rigged. And you're a victim. You're a product of the system. You're a ward of the state thinking. But guess what? Some of us are free. Mentally and physically. And we're here to tell you that it's here for you too. It's not a special thing. You're the trustee. But if you're not acting as the trustee, what type of results you think you're going to get? Beneficiary results. Well, Trust Christian, well, can I be the grantor? Okay. Is it revocable or irrevocable? It's revocable. Okay. Now we see why you want to be the grantor. Because you want to collapse the trust deal. You want to have the ability to come back. Do you not have that in the public? Can you rescind the social security number? Oh, we can't talk about that in the public. It's an option. You can go to their website. You can rescind the social. You can say, I don't want to use it anymore. But how many ready and prepared about that life, as the young kids say? How many people about that life? They not. They seen free lunches given out after the Great Depression, and they like, I need free lunch. I seen my grandparents didn't make it. I seen my grandparents living on Social Security number. Social Security, they ain't got no. They don't have $1 million in X, Y, and Z retirement account. They don't have this exorbitant amount of money coming in from outside investments of the Social Security Administration trust. That's all it is. So I seen that. I'm not going to do that. This literally comes down to like, who wants to collect Social Security? And if you collect the Social Security supposedly in the public, if you make a certain amount of money in the public, they say they'll lower your Social Security because they say you don't need it. How's the trustee of the public side going to tell you you don't need something after they've taxed you indirectly the entire time? And when we say taxed you, we're talking about the beneficiary position. Then they tax the entity and they didn't report it, you did.
These are the conversations we have at the vault, and we're here to bring clarity and conversation to these topics, because it's like, oh yeah, we can't talk about Social Security when the government's sitting on TV every day talking about Social Security. Oh yeah, we don't know if it's bankrupt. We don't know if it's going to be solvent. We don't know if we're going to go to a digital system. Think about that. When the government puts people on food stamps and they have food stamps, you think about it. When the government shut down recently, didn't they just electronically say, hey, we're not going to put any money in the account? That's how simple the digital currency is, and people want to sit here and promote this digital currency BS. It is so hilarious right now, because we were talking to someone yesterday, and we were talking about how so many older people, they always carry cash, and they'll say, oh yeah, I have change. They have, the older people, they carry cash. We're not promoting that it's not secure, but clearly you see that there's intrinsic value in cash. What happens when the intrinsic value is taken away now, and now it's just nominal value? But most people don't have this type of financial education to say what's the difference between intrinsic and nominal value. Clearly a dollar has a dollar value, because when you take it to places that say we're accepting 100 cents or 4 quarters for what's equivalent of what is they're stated as a Federal Reserve note equivalent of $1, and you give them the dollar, that's full faith and credit. What are you gonna put in the crypto? See, they got people fooled. They goofies. Oh yeah, the crypto's gonna have to be the same thing. It's called, you have faith in it. That's why they have building the coins up now. You gotta have faith in it. You gotta give it attention. You gotta give it energy. Just like people gave that energy, the fiat. We see history repeating itself right now, and we just say that, even if there is going to be a Great Depression or any of those type of cataclysms in the economy, this is what we'll say to you all. If that's the case, clearly you gotta have your affairs in order to be in the right position. Bottom line, being a trustee, knowing the position that you're supposed to be in, being a position that you know is for you to be in. Well, I got so much to deal with. I got so much to do. Okay, great. Keep doing it. But for the ones that's halfway in already, oh, Trust Christian, I knew it was something. I knew it. I knew it. But I don't have the support system, because you're not around enough wealthy people. Because wealthy people wrote the laws. Wealthy people, they're in tune with the laws. Yeah, people don't want to hear that. Oh, Trust Christian, for real? You gotta do it that way. I gotta get around these people, man. I don't know. I don't want to be around somebody that's snobby and this, that, and the third. I don't want to play tennis. I don't want to play golf, Trust Christian. I don't want to do wealthy sports. I don't want to shoot clay disc. I don't want to go polo. I don't want to go to a cricket match. I don't want to go to the horse races, Trust Christian. I don't want to do that. That's not where I'm from. I'm not interested. Okay, well, how you going to be wealthy and you not associating with other wealthy people? You think you going to be not associating with wealthy people if you wealthy? On a regular basis? That's what it comes down to. Okay. So the revocable, your name revocable trust. Are you in rooms with people that's all they know? Your name revocable trust? They don't know private? They don't know private trust? They don't know privacy? Why? Because they've been trained in the public. Or y'all might be around people and the person might be in trusteeship and private trusteeship and still won't tell you because they're private. So they're not here to tell you that. They just gonna operate privately. That's why you see so many politicians do it. Why would they tell you what they doing? If they told you that they were investing in ammunition right now, if they told you they'd be investing in war bonds right now, if they told you they were investing in, they knew the war was gonna happen before it happened, before it got announced to the public, the general public. Correct, correct. So okay, what makes you think that they don't have people that are sitting in that room that's gonna walk out that room and they're the ones managing the trust account like the government's managing the trust for you? Somebody's gonna walk out and be the fiduciary of their family estate, And that's generally how it is at the political level, supposedly. You can't just go in and take that information. It's called insider trading. They try to get people on the private side, but the public side are like public companies and things like that. That's what they do. They get them for insider trading. The government's not insider trading, ladies and gentlemen. The politicians, they're business people too. Some of them. You think they don't get information and go say, "Hey man, we got to go invest in these daggone you know, we got to go invest in all these tools, weapons, clothes, detention centers, construction companies to build these detention centers, all types of stuff." You think they don't see so they see the law, they see the bill proposed. Is it wrong for them to go out there and raise the money or put some of their money in that business privately? Because that's what they're doing through a blind trust. So, okay, do you have a living revocable trust as a trustee? Or are you the beneficiary? Or are you the grantor? And we can never leave that subject, ladies and gentlemen. We can never leave which one are you, because when it comes down to it, if you don't know what position you in, of course you're going to say anything. You're going to say anything. But when it comes down to it, some trustees understand the intention. They understand the intention. What's the intention? To be a master of your fate. To be the master of yourself. There is no rule over you. Is there a rule of law? Yes, it's a rule of law. There is no rule over you. So does the government have people? We're not going to say that it has them, but there are some people that have fallen prey to the system because they don't understand that the system was set up to basically, even if it was to penalize people, okay, the system is doing that for the people that aren't educated. So that means, oh, if you're wealthy, like, oh, I'm wealthy, Trust Christian, I got all this money, I should not be dealing with all these same problems that people that have less money do. And that's true. They just have different problems. But if they get to certain levels and they don't know certain pieces of information or execute it, you're not. It's a limiting factor. Why? Because you're in an environment where they're telling you, hey, we lower our liabilities. Why? Because we have so much. We don't just talk about it in, oh, I'm hoarding and I'm keeping it. No, we just have so much. You want to be in a position of being a trustee full time now, instead of being in a position where, oh, I'm the beneficiary sometime. I gotta report, and then I gotta report against who's the other people? I gotta the grantor. I want to be the grantor because I started the trust. It's my birth certificate. If it wasn't for me being born, then they wouldn't even have a birth certificate. Exactly, they would not. But at the end of the day, what position are you in? So if you know the position that you in, then you'll act accordingly, and you'll be that master of your fate, the master of your destiny. Has the system gotten complicated? Nah, not really. Yeah, people just don't want to hear. They don't want to know. It's like Trust Christian. They'll be like, "Oh, Trust Christian, you an agent? How Trust Christian gonna be an agent? What you talking about? You gotta know where people come from to know where they going, know where they at. You just gonna sit here and say, "Oh, Trust Christian, you an agent?" First of all, the system was the laws were written by the masters, whether you call them slave masters or any other type of stuff. They were written by masters. The laws were written by masters, so they didn't put the laws in place to penalize them. They put the laws in place to penalize a group of people that don't know the laws. So if you know the laws, then you have a fighting chance. Because the system is supposed to be for your benefit. That's the problem, is that there's a Democrat that's come out and said the system is against you. The system is not against you. The Democrats the ones say it's a democracy. How? It's a republic. Y'all literally don't see we're standing in the middle of what would be considered an internal domestic war. Why? Because you got people that literally fought a war and they're still in opposition. Because why? There's a group of people that still believe in the same principles, and the reason why they still have two parties to this day. Because there are a group of people that said we're going to stand up for freedom, and there are other people that said we're going to stand up for slavery. And they fought a war for that. And it wasn't one race of people, it was just a group of people. What changed?
Nothing changed. It's still two parties. Why would it just become a party of unified people doing the best for all of us? They're not, because people don't want to hear, oh man, there's an enemy. Ain't no enemy. I don't got no enemy. Y'all clearly somebody telling you it's a democracy when we live in a republic. What are you talking about? How's it not? That's like you going to another country and telling them what their government is. But how many people know the law? They don't know the law, so ignorance of the law again. I didn't know that it's a republic. I didn't do the research. I don't know it for thyself. I know what the government tells me. I know what the TV tell thy visions. I know what they tell my vision. They telling lies to my vision. I'm learning that guess what, Trust Christian? It's not a democracy. It's a republic. I finally read it. Exactly. That's all it is. Oh yeah, they told me Trust Christian. There's a Sesticade trust set up for me as a kid, and it was a Social Security Administration trust. That's what they call it. And when I turn 18, I'm supposed to use this, and I don't know what capacity I'm really doing things in. Because I look at the forms, but I really don't know what I'm filling out. I just know I'm not trying to go to jail, and I gotta do what everybody else is doing. File taxes. Who's I? Okay, you're filing as what? The beneficiary or the trustee? Well, I don't know that. No one told me that. My parents didn't tell me that. No one told me that. The government didn't tell me that. There's a lot of unknown things that the government didn't tell me when I went through their government school system. They didn't tell me that. Okay? Because it's not about believing. It's about knowing. And when you're supposed to know better, you're supposed to do better. Right. You got to do it. I'm afraid to be the master of the master file trust, Christian. I don't want to be in control of my financial affairs. I don't want to do that. I don't want to act as a competent adult. I want other people to tell me a lie, calling it a democracy. I'm okay with that, Trust Christian in the vault. I'm okay with people lying to me in the public. Because why? It's the wildest thing. Because they're minors. They call themselves that. That's what they say. I'm a minor. They don't call themselves a majority. That's not about your color. Think about it. They got minority and majority. Then they also got another class called white and black. They got all these sub different titles. Right. So it's not about what you are. It's about what title you are. What title are you? Are you black? Are you white? Or are you, what is that? Are you a trustee? Are you a beneficiary? What are you? That's how you announce yourself to the public. Oh man, I'm gonna color this. Or, I'm a trustee, or I'm a beneficiary. Okay. But hey, what can you say? So many don't know. But how many people are going to execute? For the rest of y'all that are aware about what we're talking about, the execution, it matters. Execute, execute, execute. We really encourage you all to dig deep and figure it out. Get around an association of people, dress the part, practice talking. Trust Christian, do you talk like this all the time? Do you talk like this around wealthy people? Y'all don't even want to know. Wealthy people, it's not that we have arguments, we have true disagreements and debates, and we have conversations that bring vigor to ideas, bring vigor to our businesses, bring vigor to our life. No, it's not rigid. We're talking about vigor. Some people say, "Oh, I don't know what that means." You got to research it for sure. But okay, they're bringing critical thinking and critical thought, dynamic thought. Not just, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with whatever you say because you a man or you a this or you a that." Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening, replay. Always appreciate everybody tunes in live, listening, replay. Feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. We appreciate everyone that listens live and listens in a replay. This is the vault. Your name, revocable trust. Definitely did our best to add as much value as we possibly can. Why? What we talking about is nothing wrong with it. The government They're the ones telling you it's a democracy when you could go do your research and see it's a republic. So it ain't about Trust Christian telling you the fibs today. It's about who's telling you fibs in the public that you're dealing with on a regular basis. Because we're in the private rooms, and where will we talk about? And we're not talking about democracies. We're talking about asset control, controlling assets. That's what we're talking about. And doing it from the correct position. Not as a position of ownership, but and that's the wild part about it. It's like what we put in the chat recently. It's called The White Man's Burden. That's all it is. You gotta listen and read over The White Man's Burden by Rugpert Kipling. Or Rudyard Kipling. Right? It's called The White Man's Burden. But it's not talking about the color of anybody. It's talking about it's talking about the it's talking about just basically like any individual that feels like they have to take care of somebody else. That's why the government's the way it is, because they feel like they got to take care of people. People have by default say, "Oh yeah, the government's supposed to take care of me because I was born in that country." Are you serious? That's how it sounds now. That's how y'all sound out here. Oh, the government's supposed to take care of me because I was born in that country. Wow, that's interesting. But the government's bankrupt, right? Hold on, the government's in debt, right? Right. Now we know why you in debt. Because the government's in debt. And we're not saying there's anything wrong with it, but now we know why. So we appreciate everybody tunes in live, listen, replay. Feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you all. Appreciate shout out to the chat. Definitely appreciate you all. Feel free to type into the chat where you listening live, listen to replay, uh, or where you listening from. And always appreciate it. Really excited about where we are this year so far. And we're going to continue to move forward in that light. So peace and joy.